Hopefully, okay. It looks like it's recording. I don't know.
Yes.
So
Do you want
now,
me to stop sharing?
um, not for no, because if you do, I can't. I don't have access to my computer, nor can
Okay.
I give access to anybody. I'd have to use my phone, which I can probably figure out. But yeah, it's just easier. Let's leave it on yours.
Yeah, I have your PowerPoint file. If you add something after that
No,
you would like
no,
to
there
show.
wasn't.
No. Okay.
It was just, hey, now's time for Q&A, and the Q&A can be. I think there was a lot of good things that he just demonstrated, which we could of course have Q&A on, or we can get back to, which actually I guess you're right. The deck, if anyone had a question over any of the functions or commands that we outlined there, or if anyone on the call has any input into what they use for parsing stuff, right, with stuff. That'd be the third option after we answer people's questions. I just don't know if people have any questions. You did a pretty good job reviewing everything.
Someone say, to me, a tab separated value file is still a CSV file. Some people say CSV for comma separated value. Some I also saw character separated value. So any character can be a separator.
Yeah.
So and tab is a frequent
Pipe.
use one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say that what I've always heard is comma separated values for CSV. But yeah, I knew what Captain Odin he meant when he said that a CSV is, or
Yeah.
tab delimited file is a CSV at heart. But yeah, it's a good thing to point out.
The one thing for me, which, and this is dealing with 20 years, a little bit more of market research and stuff, is comma delimited files. Often my text has commas in it, and if they don't quote encapsulate it correctly, it just becomes a nightmare to deal with. And so I prefer like a tab or a pipe, which is much less frequently used.
There's a lot of bad CSV file, bad exports.
Yeah.
And even from very good products, I found bugs using my tool, and I report the bugs to the developer and say, oh, we forgot that because of this backslash, the next character was escape, and it breaks the file. So a lot of things can happen. I saw a question about the pound command that I was using. Just a minute to show you. In the file that Joe will send you, there will be a subfolder lib, and it is this file here, pound, which contain various functions that I use. So the one with the function with O, which shows an object here, it will go through the different fields in the object and display the content here. So you can take a look at that if you want to know more about these tools. This one is mainly to show variables, and it is a, what is the word to say when you could put an unlimited number of parameters? It's a very sophisticated word.
Variadic function.
Variadic function, yeah.
Thank
So
you.
it's a variadic function where I can put a number of variable and it will show it to me in the message box. So it's kind of sophisticated message boxes library.
It's good. Is that in your standard library? I didn't see you actually include it.
No, it's yes, it is in the lib folder. So
yeah, fair enough.
I showed it to you here. So because it is in the lib folder below my script, it will be automatically read, included, and because it has the same, the file name is the same as the function names, it makes the links working well.
It is standard library compatible.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Yeah, it's not something that I see used that much anymore, but it's great to see that that functionality is still useful.
Can you copy and paste from that GUI window? You can open a line. Where is it? It's here. You can open a line, and here you can of course copy here, but you cannot copy rows and paste rows. It's not Excel. If you want to use, yeah, it's not Excel.
Well, Jean, the question was asked when you were demonstrating your library and you had a list view open.
Yeah, and that was just
yes, and the answer is no, unless you develop it yourself because you're good with list views.
Right.
But it's a lot of job. Yeah. But it can be done. It's a kind of, I provide basic tools. You can build on it if you wish. Yeah. Thank you. Yes, there's a good documentation, I think, for all these. I try to use the format that AutoHotkey is using to describe the various
Wow, that's
options.
awesome.
There's a tool, I don't know if you've reviewed that, but there's a tool that will read a source file in AutoHotkey and produce this file. So I don't
Yeah.
do it myself. I have to conform to some standards in the way I create the library, and then it will produce this output.
Yeah, it's been around for quite some time as well.
Yeah, works well.
And you're the only person I've ever seen actually use it, but
there's one.
Some of the older, I'm not meaning that by age, but some of the users who were around some years ago, they used this for quite a lot of the libraries that they actually shared on AutoHotkey.net, which is no longer available.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like using libraries that are well documented, so I make the effort to do my best with that. So the version number of the library is still under 1. It's still 0.5.9. So I does not consider it to be a production ready because I still find some little things. In the earlier version, these bugs could cause the loss of data. I'll be frank with you. In the environment, for example, if you had a Dropbox folder, because of the syncing, the file save was skipping a few lines sometimes, and it's very hard to detect. So now I'm taking some precautions. I'm taking care of this. And I don't think there is any more bugs that will affect the data. There are bugs that will say, oh, I haven't think of this kind of situation and I have to deal with it. But it's more, if I add 3, 4, 5 serious users, I say I developed something with it and it worked well, and then I would consider it to be safe to be released as version 1 and being production usable. But now it's kind of at your own risk, of course.
So your comments just reminded me of something else, which isn't about your library, but if anyone knows the answer to this. So when I was reading stuff and doing stuff in Python and then working with big data, sometimes you're dealing with files that are several gigabytes big, right?
Yeah.
And you're trying to process them. And of course, in AutoHotkey, if you do things with the general read file and do stuff, it tries to read the whole file, store it in memory, and then we'll parse it. And I can't remember, but I'm trying to remember if it was I think there's a way in AutoHotkey to get around that where you can still process whatever size file because it will read each line at a time and not the entire file. Is that correct? Is that with the file object or with the read line where you're not opening the entire file, you're just reading a chunk of it?
Read line. But I don't know if there are any limitation for the size of the file. I can tell you that my library is based on the memory availability. So if you have a very, very large memory, it won't be able to load very, very large file, but you'll have to wait for because processing time is still there. But it can load multi-megs files, not terabytes file.
I think there is a few limitations. There is a standard limitation of about 64 megabytes files, but AutoHotkey will automatically extend the memory up to, I think it's 265 megabytes. And if you wanted to extend above that, I think you need to use the extend memory command or something like that. I can't remember. But yeah, there is some limits to the sizes of files.
There's a limit for the length of each line.
Yeah, that too. Yeah, that's for the read line.
But okay, so let me just spitball on this and understand. So if I'm able to, let's say it is truly a flat file where each line is completely a case, right? It's a record. Completely enclosing that record, and so I don't have to worry that it's multi-line. So if I can read it one line at a time, couldn't I process one line and then process the next line and not eat up the memory for both?
You would use write line?
Yeah, I think that depending on whichever command you use, I think that every of the commands as the source is written in C++, you would still hit that barrier because it's built into Windows. I don't think you can really get around it in that manner by simply reading a line.
My understanding of read line is there's a pointer into the file and it will read the next line. And the pointer is progressing in the file.
Oh yeah, if you use
it doesn't read the whole file. There's only a pointer into the file that change for each line.
Yeah, of course, if you use the read line with the file object, I was thinking about using a read line from a parsing loop. So that's two different.
Okay.
But
so
you
maybe
could read one line, then process it and write it with the next command, which will add a line to the file regardless of its size. There is certainly a limit, but I think it could handle very large file using these.
Well, and I see Catmon, that's what he's talking about too, is, if you write it after, then maybe with the file object. But again, if I'm actually really trying to process 5 gigabyte files, AutoHotkey is not the language I should be using, right? Overall, I mean, there's other faster ones.
Yeah.
However, if it's a one-time thing, you know what? Hey, I don't care if it takes a couple extra hours because I know AutoHotkey, and so I'd still crank it out.
I'd say
night job.
Yeah. I'd say, Joe, if it's just speed, most of what takes time in AutoHotkey is the way the coder is writing it.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you look at the benchmarks for AutoHotkey, when you do looping over files, reading lines, stuff like that, it's not that far behind. So we are not really talking about seconds. Of course, if you're talking about gigabytes, it might take
adding up,
seconds, but it's not minutes or stuff like that. So it depends on whatever you are doing. So if it takes too long, you might need to review how you
optimize. So incidentally, that was one I found an example of using the file object for doing stuff. And so I'm like, okay, let me compare using file append, reading a file and file append versus the file object. And I mean, it really makes a difference when you're opening and closing the file, all the time, right? Mm-hmm. And when I did it over like 50,000 lines, the file object was, I mean, I'm not going to say it was instant, but it was so close. It was incredible, the speed difference, because it opens it once, right, and then does all the stuff and then closes it. Anyway, that was amazing.
Yeah, and of course the old way of doing this, file append and stuff, you just have a lot of source code behind it, where it's handling both the opening and the closing and the error code and all of that stuff. Where the newer edition of the file object, you're working much closer to the actual workings of Windows.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. So again, it's one more point of Lexico's actually incorporating something that doesn't have as much filler, just like the COM library that.
Oh man, that was amazing. Yeah.
Stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Where you get much closer to how other programming languages is actually doing it.
I'm seeing Catmone's comment that says Python. Someone said it was about as slow as AHK. So back to your point, Jackie, is look at my coding, which usually sucks, right? But I get inspired when I see how. Actually, Jackie, if you remember right, this was 4 years ago. I'm thinking I had a question where I was reading in I was using SQL, and I think it was the ADO database tool, and I was reading it in, and I was writing a query to flag look for certain string values, and then I would try to identify ones that had a word present, and then basically store the email address of people who had that flag. That was from a different column, but that was one where I think you and a couple other people did different alternatives, but switched it over to using an object instead of using some other things I was doing, and it got down to where I was processing 100,000 lines in a couple seconds, and it was doing a lot of stuff, right? It was amazing because it was minutes, And I'm like, I sometimes have millions of rows, and I can't do this with AutoHotkey. But it it was night and day by optimizing. Let me rephrase that, by having someone else optimize for me.
Yeah, I've found a lot of fun in actually doing that, and it's great. I think that the AutoHotkey forum is sharing a lot of knowledge in that way, that people keep coming to ask new questions, and there's always someone they're missing something to do, so they're willing to actually help people in that manner, because to me it's always been kind of like solving small puzzles. Yeah, and I'm actually quite happy when people go in and post their version or their interpretation of the solution, even though someone else has already posted theirs, because sometimes you just get gold nuggets. Truly, someone just found that one way of doing it that just beats all the rest.
Yeah, well, and then there's the other one where you can rewrite it and optimize things, or you can rewrite it, and that's what I love with objects. Often, it makes it so much easier to understand and to update, right? And often it's even faster. But it's like, wow, I can actually go tweak that now in a minute instead of having some really long, crazy code that I got to dig through to try to update and change.
Yeah, I got I don't know, in a kind of a heated discussion with a few users at some points, where I would use, let's say, a string split that actually creates an object out of a string, and they felt that I had a lot of overheat in actually using an object, and sure, there is some, but to me, the functionality I get from that just makes it so much simpler to read and to work with. So I felt that, at least for what we are doing, which is okay, if you make a large library, you probably shouldn't have too much overheat, but still, for a small snippet here and there, why not opt for what has the most readability?
Yeah.
What I like is this very simple command that will parse the object, giving you for each line the value and the key. It's so simple to use. Everything is there.
Yeah. The for loop is a great
for
tool.
loop. Yeah. For objects. Among other things. Yeah.
Among other things. Yeah. That is true. We don't have that many questions, it seems like. There was one, was it Josh, who wanted to ask questions? Do you still have questions, Josh?
He left, or he said he had to leave.
Left.
Yeah.
Did he say he had to leave, or did he say that?
He did. Yeah.
He said that to you. That's fair enough, Joe.
Yeah.
You had a question about, can you copy and paste from that GUI?
Yeah, but we answered that.
I don't think it's...
Yeah.
And I know Josh, I can ping him. I told him to make sure he saw the CSV Buddy, because I know him, and I think for where he's at, that's a great tool to have in your kit, right, of things to be able to play with stuff.
Yeah, the GUI he asked about, that was your very small, very quick.
Yeah, the small example,
Your list view and your...
Yeah, what I provide is the tool to populate a list view, but then you have to build your list view. Hey,
and I know you did this years ago, Jean, but I was curious, in CSV Buddy, you started off with saying, here's the first, you can, I forget what the first one was for, you were looking at how you can basically filter it down, reorder it, and do something else with it. And I was curious, because your second and third one seemed to me, what you could have done is it the export, maybe? Is that the window where you have those 3 edit windows at the top? Can you go to export? No, it's not.
Save is when you want to save in the CSV file. Export, you can export to fixed width.
You were choosing what columns you wanted to include?
Yeah, the number 2, the second one here.
Yeah, here we go. So, okay, so you were I forgot the rename. So you're renaming them, and then you select fields, and then you order the fields. So I was just curious, was there a reason why you didn't just use the second one to do both the order and the select fields? So all you would have to do is just, of course, put them in the order you want.
I think it's for GUI simplicity. It's more easy to understand for the user. You're doing one thing at a time.
Okay.
I think it could be combined. It may be a little more complex back end, but also front end. So I prefer to
Fair enough.
Make it separate things. For every command here, there's a small text box that will tell you, explain to you the various commands. Yeah.
How did you actually translate this into 10 languages? Did you do that yourself or
translate it to?
That's the other tool, Jackie.
That's the other.
Oh, that's Quick Access Popup that I.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So in options here, you can select languages here, and I have people from various countries.
Where's Danish?
Me with this.
Where's Danish? What's up with that? Jackie, we know what you're doing.
Yeah, but you have now that the tool is bigger than it was, you have to plan a few tens of hours.
Yeah.
At least 10 hours to do the translation. There's a lot of text. But there's Dutch, Danish. No, there's a Dutch version coming on. Someone is working on it and almost finished now. There's even two Chinese version, but very little users I found. I think I thought that doing a Chinese version would open it to millions of people, but
well, it did.
Yeah, but they don't have a computer.
Yeah.
The problem is probably where you're putting the tool. I know that you have your website for it and stuff like that, but if it actually getting through the Great Wall of China, who knows?
Yeah, that could be an issue. The user that does the translation is in China, so but I don't know how he got that. But
is there still a Chinese forum?
Yeah, there's still a Chinese forum. Yeah, but I don't think that the actual Chinese forum is still active. Not to. I haven't checked it for quite some months. So, but yeah, there was one.
I think Capmona was responding to me and said yes. So,
but not the subform, but the actual form.
Oh, the whole yeah. I meant the subform, but you're right. Okay. There was an entirely its own thing. I remember that.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's one in Chinese here.
Yeah, incidentally, I was chatting with some guy on a different topic, and I tried to connect with him on LinkedIn, and he said, "Hey, I'm in Russia, and Russia blocks LinkedIn," and I'm like, "Wow, that." Yeah, to your point, Jackie, it's an interesting world.
and China has just removed a lot of the VPNs that a lot of Chinese actually use to access the internet outside of China, and that is the thing. So there you have no uncensored Google and stuff like that. So what we see in a Google result is absolutely not the same thing as the Chinese sees, which is worth actually remembering. So whatever.
The other issue I have it with the malware filters or the firewalls, and even if my programs are certified with a certificate. There are still some that will tag my website or my files as malware, and you can see that there are on 60 different algorithms doing the analysis. Only 2, 3, or 4 will say it's a malware, and then they are of course false positive.
Yeah.
But some company will trust the 3, 4 that does a bad job to prevent my website to be accessible from very large companies sometimes. So people have to download the tool from their own at home, and they cannot use it at work.
Yeah, and that's always sad. And AutoHotkey have been hit a lot by that, and in different times and at different aspects.
I have an alert for AutoIt as well as AutoHotkey, and I saw AutoIt recently has been hit really hard with false positives of saying it's a virus.
Yeah, and okay, one thing is what you have with the AutoIt, because it's kind of closed source. Whereas if you had the tenacity to actually be able to compile a C source, you could always go to GitHub or wherever it is and actually download the AutoHotkey source and compile it yourself and be sure that there was nothing but the open source in whatever you made. So we just had someone in the off-topic forum talking about him being infested by AutoHotkey, which is something that happens.
Yeah, I received these messages regular. It was more frequent when my program was not digital certificate. What is the name? The when it was not stamped, if you wish. But now all my executable are correct, and so I do the best I can. And
there was talk about actually doing that for AutoHotkey at one point on the compiler. But the problem with that was that then Lexicos's name would be on all the compiled scripts.
Yeah.
And he didn't want that. And I understand.
Yeah. So. But I'm kind of put my certificate to this code, including this code. So this,
Yeah, it's just sad. But again, they are checking a lot of parameters that we don't know about. And for some people, it would probably be better to flag a few extra programs here and there.
And let something go through.
Yeah, but it is kind of an irritating situation to actually keep being tagged as being malware. It's not really great. It isn't. But again, I don't really see how. Again, there was a talk on the forum about removing everything suspicious from the forum, all bots and hacks and everything game related and stuff like that. And my opinion is that that is absolutely not the way of doing it. I don't see how that can actually help us with the virus flagging, because it's not because people are reporting AutoHotkey. It's because something in our source code or in the compiler or something looks like something else.
Yeah, it tweaks with Windows and it goes with DLL calls and things like that. So I can understand that IT people being suspicious will not like these kind of commands, but
but again, I think that it's just when it's compiled, when you look at it, and they probably look at it on a very low level, some of the internal code or the way the compiler is making AutoHotkey is making it look like something else. And they're just looking for small patterns in the...
And it's also algorithms. All these algorithms are different ways to look at the same file, which is in this case my setup file, which is using setup. And there's one that says it's malware heuristic ET98 something, and the 59 others say it's clean. So but some firewall will just say there is one that say it could be wrong, so I block it.
It's hard to get around. I don't really know what to do. And I know that every time someone comes and claims these false positives, it's always said that to just tell the companies that are flagging it.
Yeah, you can report false.
Yeah, in about 5 years, they might take it off.
And
exactly, because
post and pray.
But if you actually tell it to the company and they don't know what it actually detected as being when it says that this is malware, it has seen something in the compiled source that resembles something else. And unless they actually have your file, run theirs and debug it somehow and find out where it's detecting this malware, it could take them quite a lot of effort to do that for something very small. So they're probably not willing to actually do
in one case, I have a user in a very large company that is advocating my tool for his team. So he's working with IT, trying to convince them to unblock it. It was not blocked before, and it suddenly became blocked, so he's not able to update my tool, and I'm developing things like shared submenus. I didn't mention that, but for a team, you can have various users sharing part of the menu being shared among users, and he wants to use it with his team, and at this time he's blocked because of that.
Yeah, I have just a month ago or something like that. The IT security has started removing all of the AutoHotkey to exit files. So each time one of those are actually ran, it flags it immediately and puts it into quarantine. So for some reason, the compiler is now seen as something evil.
Yeah,
It's the same file, and yeah, all it's doing is actually just.
but for these people, some of these open source is evil. So open source can be anything, and Microsoft is okay, which I'm not sure.
Well, that's because they have someone they can sue.
That's
right?
another issue.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's the reason.
That's right. That's for sure. So, but yeah, it was some great tools. Thanks a lot for actually showing up to us. I saw it how many years have you actually been working on this? Must be.
I started folders pop-up before quick access pop-up in 2013. I've done the library I showed you a little before, and CSV Buddy a little before. So it was done in 2013, around that time, so 3-4 years. But CSV Buddy was done in 1 year, and then I just made some small addition to it. Quick Access Pop-up is the tool I'm working on my spare time on a continuous basis.
Yeah, and it really does a lot more. Well, it's highly customizable and does a lot more of things that it's very useful.
There are users that become addict to it. Some others say, why do we need this? It's already all in Windows. Because of course you can create your shortcuts in Windows and there are all sort of ways to create your environment with your easy way to get to what you want to do. I'm just adding one, and some people, what they really like is the middle mouse button that usually serves as nothing. Few software use it. You can change it to something else if you have a software that uses it, but then it makes it very easy to change your folder or to launch something.
Yeah, I remember seeing, and I'm not, because I'm actually saying that quick access pop-up is something, but I remember seeing a program somewhere online that was called Fast Keys, I think, which also had kind of the same principal idea.
There's a lot of projects. I'm not original in that. I just add for fun the idea of doing my own, starting from a script I found on the AutoHotkey forum from a user that I have never seen after that. That is Smith, I think.
Smith?
I can find it. And then I had some users that send me suggestion, and it started from that and never really stopped. But there are many others. A lot of these tools just stopped working with Windows 7. So I have many users that came to Quick Access Pop-up because what they were using before, folder menu, few tools like that were not AutoHotkey. They were kind of DLL tools that were going inside Windows. And when Windows changed to Windows Set, these DLL and these tricks stopped working, and the developer was not ready to update his tool. So these users were searching on sites like Alternative 2, and they found folders pop-up at that time, or quick access pop-up now. Yeah. I'll try to find the name of the...
Jean, why don't you go ahead and just demonstrate a little bit more of the tool?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I think that's a little more valuable we didn't spend much time on it, and it has an amazing amount of functionality.
Yeah. So it's my working menu. It's not my demo menu. So there's,
yeah.
So you'll see my, My personal things. So I have I'm also testing with this tool. So sometimes I'm testing snippets for now. I'm just working on something I discussed with Joe earlier. I have subfolders by theme depending on what I'm doing. I have a AHKey subfolder where I keep track of my donors because I have some. And then my different projects, I have subfolders for each. You can also have dynamic folders. So I call it live folder. So this one is my
Right.
temp folder, and the content you have here is updated every time I refresh the menu with the actual folders that are found inside my temp folder or any folder. So it's also something else that can be done. There are special folders. There are about 50 different Windows folders that you can add to your menu. I regroup all of them in the same folder, but you could put it where you want when you build. So for example, the one I use often is the application data when I want to go to
Yes,
my
it's
my
hidden.
own
Yeah.
my own quick access pop-up data folder. It's here I'm using directory Opus. So everything in Quick Access Popup is compatible with directory Opus and Total Commander. So for example, when you go to a menu that is made dynamically, that will show what are the current folders that are open in your file managers. It could be Windows Explorer, Total Commander, or directory Opus. They are listed here. So it allows me to return to a folder already open. It's not in the file manager itself that is most useful. It's more in the file open,
Mm-hmm.
where it's
Command
more when you
dialogues.
are a
Yeah.
file open dialog box that you can return to anywhere else you already worked in another window. Or the one I just added is a reopen current Windows. It will open the folder that was active. Um, so here it goes to roaming, because here I am in roaming. So if I change and I go to this side of Director Opus, which is a 2-pane, I'm now in the object CSV test file. And if I return to my open dialog box, I hit Shift Control C and it will take me to this folder. So it's very easy to return where you were without having to go up and down in your folder structure.
Can you demonstrate one where you have more than one column? You know how you have
Yeah,
it where you can,
yeah. Here we
which I
have
think is
two
neat.
columns. So in the settings, you can insert here separators, which are lines that are added in your menu, but you can also insert column breaks. And so after music, now it will do a third column. So now after music, there's a column break and it goes to the next column. So you can, it's not very convenient to do many columns. For my own taste, 2 columns is good. More than that is become
Yeah.
some cumbersome, because I do not control where the menu will appear. If I click here and so it will put all on the left. So you see the my QAP or my special folders here.
Yeah.
It would pop up
Yeah.
on the right side, but because there's no space, it will pop
Yeah.
up on the left side, and I do not control this. It is Windows that is doing it after I created the menu.
Yeah.
So going from there to here, if I'm quick enough, it's okay, but if I'm a little slow, I will lose
Uh-huh.
so that's not necessarily I like it, but with moderation, I would say.
And then, if you wouldn't mind, demonstrate how easy it is to change the icon, right, for something.
Yeah, okay, here, okay, and I'll show you also that it can be used to let's say here that I'm in the CSV
Yeah.
test file, okay, and I have this icon here, which is a kind of funny face. How do you call it? It's an angel. It's an angel face. It is the icon I choose for discard changes. Yes. So this folder here, it is this one, does not have an icon in it. You know, I'm talking about a Windows icon inside the file system of Windows. So I will first create a favorite for this folder. The easiest way is to go to the folder and say, add this folder. So it will already create an entry with the folder name on and all this. And here in the menu options, I can change the icon to any other icon I have in my own icon file, or you could go to the Windows image DLL that contains hundreds of icons. But for the example here, I will just use one of these. Let's say I will use the, how do you call it?
Hourglass.
Hourglass, yeah, okay.
Well.
So the hourglass here, I save it. I will just remove the column here. I can remove it and reload. So the one I created, I put it at the top of my menu. So here I have this object CSV menu with this file. What is fun is that now that I have this, I can also tell Windows, set this icon as the icon for this folder. It will create the desktop ini file that needs to be created in the folder. It is an hidden file unless you choose to show them in your Windows options. And here now, when I say, I don't think even I have to say OK. So I have here the desktop ini file that has been added, including the icon number, file and number, okay? It takes 30 seconds before being visible, so, but it's already done here. You see, I can show it with larger icons, I guess, using this.
And
here.
actually,
and there's this checkbox, which is a Dropbox folder, but usually you would see this. And the opposite, if a folder already has an icon, a Windows icon, I don't know which one I could use as an example. This one here, Dropbox. If okay, I'll show you something else. There are context menu. I could go inside the folder and say add this folder, but I will use the add folders pop-up here, add folder to quick access pop-up menu. It will create the folder, the favorite here, and it will automatically detect that there is an icon for this folder. So the menu will include the same icon. So I already have a Dropbox. I'll say here, Dropbox exclamation mark, save and close. And I have here this icon that has been retrieved. So I interact with the icons found in the Windows file system.
And remember, like, go back to the hourglass one.
Yeah, inside quick access pop-up.
No, actually, from your whatever.
In the file system. In the
yes.
file system. Where is it? Here. So in fact, we are already inside, so we don't see the icon. We only see the text file, and here we have the icon here.
But actually, when you're inside, is it not? I don't see it in your not status tray, in your taskbar. Shouldn't it be using that icon you assigned to it?
Here it's directory Opus doing that. So I don't know if I open the same file using
Explorer,
using Windows Explorer, maybe it will use the icon.
Because that was, I remember I told you the other day that when you change it there, when you open it, your row.
Yeah,
now
you know,
yeah.
It's here. You see at the bottom here?
Yeah.
Yeah, the hourglass is there.
And so that makes it easy. But
directory Opus is not managing that. Yeah.
It's overwriting it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I love that, because when I have multiple folders open, it makes it really easy for me to look at the taskbar and jump to that folder.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So just for now, I will remove this. So to remove it, I edit the favorite. I go here and I will remove Windows folder icon. So it will delete the desktop ini file that was created earlier. And I can change it back to the default icon. Every type of favorite has a default icon that you can override with the one you would select.
And right there, I was going to say I don't know if you mentioned earlier, but you can see on that window, you can add a shortcut button.
Yeah, so that's the icon, and here is the shortcut. You can say, for example, it will be Shift Control T for test file, for example. So I press T. It's a standard hotkey field, if you know the GUI, hotkey GUI. Shift Control. You could say it would be only left shift or right shift or any shift. Same thing for the other modifiers. And so let's see if it is not used. It is not used. I will save it. And if I want to review my hotkeys, I have a GUI here with all the all the hotkey shortcuts here. I can sort to see,
So
to review this. The same shortcut should not be in the same. Yeah, if it is in the same, if it is there twice, it's because the same location or the same destination for the menu is
yeah,
in different submenus.
cool.
And it happens because I'm doing tests. Normally it would not happen. I have drive 3 times here because I was testing something with it. And if you want to see all favorites, you see all, having or not. I will just, I cannot enlarge. I didn't manage to make this file, this GUI full screen. We should blame the developer for this. So here we go. So here we see all the hotkey, most of them being none. And I have the same kind of GUI, less nice, but to see all the icons. And for any favorite, the ability to say if the current icon is this one here, I want to revert it to be the default icon. I will click set default, and it will be reverted to the default icon, which I don't want because I'm used to have my temp folder being this this icon here. Here. Yeah, there's of course lots of things in the options. You can set the language, the theme. It's very limited choice of theme. If you use shared, okay, I can show you a shared menu. Shared menu is useful for yourself. If you work on different machines, you can have the same file containing a subsection of your menu. So for example, what do I have here? I have this perso shared folder in a Dropbox folder, and I can link one part of my menu to this file on any machine that I'm using if I have Dropbox installed on this machine. It can also be used by team, so different users at the same time can have the same menu and they can add or edit the file. And it's been very tedious, but I'm managing the conflict where two users would try to edit the same menu, so they cannot. I'm preventing this. I think it's quite safe now. And there's a third option, which is centralized. So you would have, and it's the kind of tool that the person I was talking to you in a very large company, he wants to use it to have, it's not for HR, but the best example is HR. HR wants to set a set of links to their HR material policies and things like that. So this kind of menu would be centralized. Only people at HR with a given username are able to edit the menu. So this is defined with options here, where it can be personal. Yeah, I don't have right myself to change it. I'll take this example here. So this one is collaborative. So it's a menu shared on a shared drive for team or work groups. I can make it personal, where it would be on a folder, but for myself on different computers. The difference here is that I will not manage the conflict or the error message the same way. And centralized there is automatically I set my username here, Jean, it's the name of my machine, but in a network environment, I would have something more complete with department names and things like that to say that these users and possibly other users would have access to, would be able to edit this menu. All this is explained in this page, a set of page in my FAQ on the website. This is shared menu. And yeah, I was going to say in options, so you can also have a catalog of shared menu. So for this corporate environment, you could say there are one menu for each department, and a list will appear if you set. So if I say here, add shared menu, you have the list here of the menu that are saved in the catalog. Here is how the menu will be displayed. Will it be near the mouse pointer or always at the same location or top left of the active window? You decide. Do you want shortcut to be inserted in the menu so there will be, oh, a bug. Apps key, okay, something new. It's a beta version here, so fortunately it's not something that regular users would see. Give me a second, I'll need to make a screen capture of this. Window, capture window.
Yeah, like I said, it's a pretty robust, well thought out, with a ton of functionality and customizability tool.
Sure.
Yeah, no, I'll just put it in.
We're
Yeah.
getting over the 2-hour time frame, so I think we're unless anyone has any particular questions, real quick.
There haven't been much action in the chat, so
Yeah.
I don't think there is any more questions at this time. It is also a lot of information to process, and
It is.
Yeah. So it's been great seeing it all. It sure has.
So thanks for the opportunity to show this, hoping it can be of some use for
different
users.
Wait, cat mode and...
Well, I have one. Let's hear it.
Yeah.
He's typing, I'm sure.
I'm going to do a drum roll here in a second.
Yeah, it can probably go on for a long time. Yeah, I don't know. He's probably still typing.
I was chatting with him some on the side about if he had any questions earlier, and maybe that's what he's going to get around to asking.
iScript is on the forum of mine is different if I download it from the page. Yeah.
Excuse me, I'm just capturing the step 2 of the bug I had.
Did he mean so AScript is on the...
I'll be back to you in a second.
Oh.
Excuse me. Dropbox here. Okay, so yes.
I think it's too late for Captain Odin right now. A script on the forum of mine is different if I download it from the page.
Which script do you mean?
Yeah, that's that. I'm just reading what he's typing in the chat, so I'm also a little unsure compared to the one on the page.
The one that Jean's reviewing?
No.
Oh, okay, just making sure. I didn't think so, but...
Yeah.
Maybe you can open the mic for him.
Oh,
so he posted a link.
Jean, can you click that since... Yeah, thank you.
Okay, so...
Oh, it's about to try. Yeah. Did you want to talk about that? It's a screen capture. Tell me if you want me to show something.
I think you're doing fine right now, just kind of skimming along. But the overall concept... Oh, sure. And I got to do it on my phone. So just bear with me for a second. Participants, Cap Odin, unmute.
If you see the test script at the top, the second one, when I download it, there are two parentheses that still are shown, or still is in the script, but if you look at the source code on the page, there I have removed. So I don't know if maybe it's just a time thing, but it's been like that for
that is bizarre.
5 minutes or something maybe.
So it's the download function that you're talking about.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. That's hard for us to actually say because I don't know. I know that it's an extension to the BB forum theme that we're using, this one, and I think it's heavily modified to actually work for our forum. So, however, it's actually working behind the scenes. It's hard to tell.
And half the time, depending on which browser I'm using, it won't work at all, and I have to switch to a different browser, and then it still doesn't work correctly, but it'll, it does something different. So I typically try different browsers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. We probably don't have any better help for you there, Captain. Sorry.
It's just the test is broken because of this. It's a little annoying.
Sure.
Yeah.
You mean if you download here?
It's the second one. The problem is file name is not changed. I noticed if I use parentheses in the English dictionary file name, it's translated to some person something HTML stuff, I guess.
Yeah, I see background color.
Yeah, it's some encoding that's going on somewhere where it's actually changing characters in the source. Is that what you're saying?
No, it was in the dictionary I uploaded separately as an attachment. But I changed the test script, but it's not being updated if you download it.
Okay, so if you download the test script, the actual file name in the test script
was this downloaded?
So this one, I just made a clipboard copy from the forum, and this one was downloaded. So they look the same. I'll just scroll to see if there are differences on the remaining.
I just downloaded it myself again, and it didn't work. It seems to work here, so everything's good, I guess.
The last.
So the
no, it
works for other people.
It seems to be identical.
So which browser are you using?
Firefox.
Firefox. You don't have any kind of caching of the page going on?
Maybe. I don't know.
Because I've seen that issue a couple of times where
Control F5.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, that was a problem.
Yeah. Okay.
Cool.
Yeah, it's good. Good, we solved it.
Anyway.
So that is TRIE. Is that a typical name for what you're doing?
What?
The name of your
try.
Yeah.
That's the name of the data structure. It's a type of tree.
Okay. Oh, okay. And so
I'm running. Should there be an output from this?
If you do you have the try file as well?
I put it in a subfolder, so it should be there. But what I can do is
if
just
you
take it from the
press and hold the Windows key and press S.
Yeah. Okay. I'll just revert to what was loaded. Alt what? S.
Windows.
Windows S.
Windows S. There we go.
Try typing something. Oh, it seems not to have loaded the. Did you download the dictionary?
No. Okay, yeah, I've seen the British something here. Is this what you attachment here?
Yeah.
It has to be in the same folder?
Yes.
Okay, I'll reload. And over, yes. Okay, Alt Windows S.
Oh,
sorry.
What's wrong?
Yeah.
This is just a GUI. Is it because the try is not included?
The try is included because we would not show it if it was not. because previously it was like this, and it says that it cannot be opened because I put it in the lib subfolder, but usually the lib subfolder should be red, so I remove it, so we can use the one in the.
But do classes work the same as
no,
functions?
They do not.
No.
Okay.
And they don't error when they don't load.
Do that? Okay, so I'll just go to the lib folder.
That was one of the things that drove me nuts, is that they also don't error saying it didn't load.
No, because the class is supposed to actually handle.
Yeah. Okay, so I will move it to the same folder, which is a catch-all folder, but it should work. And I'll put it here, and there we go. Okay, we've seen that something was happening.
Yeah.
Windows S, try.
Nice.
And there you have it.
Okay.
Nice.
So what's the idea? I just missed the beginning of your discussion about that. So what's the goal of it?
A try is a structure where a string is indexed by all the characters in it. So you have to read from the root of the tree to a branch, to the end of a branch, a leaf, sorry, before you see a value you have put into it. So by writing try as you did, you only ever search through the words that start with try. You don't have to find them first. You already know where they are. So you are able to limit the...
it's kind of filter, a drop-down filter.
Yeah, but the cool thing is that you don't need to find all the words that have that prefix first.
So it's a very fast list.
Yeah, you can say that.
Yeah, by using the tree approach.
Yeah,
it reminds me another approach, which is, what was it called? When you split your data in different piles. It's not a tree, it's when you want to index something very, very fast. What's the name of this approach?
And it seems to work quite fast. How much can
there are 50,000 lines in this file. Yeah.
Captain, have you tried it with 500,000?
No.
Okay, I was just curious. Yeah.
I have a big Danish dictionary I could try.
Yeah.
Is there a way to hide the window?
Just kill the process.
Okay.
If I hadn't made
it
background.
It closed my site.
Oh.
Editor. So I'll say, do I want to save this? No, I don't. Okay, I'll reopen it. No, it's still there. Maybe I have to run. I'll run this again.
Yeah, I think it's just one of the H's down.
Cannot be open.
Down to the right.
Yeah, it should be one of the green H's. You should just be able to right-click one of them and exit it out.
That's the one.
Yeah.
Exit.
I'm tired. Exit.
Yeah.
Yeah, here we are actually at 21 past midnight. So.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry to keep you up.
This was really interesting, though. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah. Oh, it's great to see.
I look forward to seeing.
And this is the class
when it's done.
That's the class. I'll show it a little larger.
Is it actually done, Captain, or no?
I'm thinking of extending it with the ability to delete keys from it. Right now, you can't remove something because you have to take it into account that some other key might be a part of the one you will remove. So they'll need some logic to handle it.
Yeah.
And also, I might make some kind of scoring or something to different keys so that it suggests something more than other things or something.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe prefer short words, or I don't know, if you type something often, then it could use that more. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's often seen. Yeah. How about no? This really doesn't work with any kind of fuzzy searches.
Right, it's an exact.
Yeah, it's exact. Yeah, which is
and you got to.
fine.
Oh, sorry.
So that first letter, if you don't know it, right, and you're spelling egg with an A, you're in trouble. Yeah.
Yeah, you wouldn't find it. Yeah, which is okay, but yeah, you could use a Fibonacci or whatever they're called to actually do those. Where this is something else. This is a lot of to do with speed, or that's at least how I kind of interpret it. Or is
you could say that, but also convenience.
Yeah.
But more in, well, I can find everything that starts with this. So.
Yeah. Okay. Which is also useful. Did it actually, when it showed stuff, was that just in the order that it found it in the dictionary, or because when he wrote try, the first example after try had what's that, a dash?
It's probably depends on how I run to my recursive function. And I'm not really sure right now what it does. I can't remember how I wrote
it. Interesting.
They could be tricky to understand sometimes.
Yeah, sure. And also,
when there's something wrong with the script. Actually, it's not with the script, with the way I'm using it. It worked, and now it doesn't work anymore. I have to put the full path here, and I'll try it here maybe. Maybe because I'm running it inside and it doesn't take the correct. Yeah, there we go.
Okay.
The working directory is not set properly. Okay, and so here we go. And yeah,
it might be sorted. Probably is, I guess.
It looks alphabetical. Yeah.
Yeah, it does. To some degree, at least. If you backspace those two and write try again as you did the first time, yeah, that looks alphabetical. Yeah.
What about numbers?
Yeah.
If you have a word that that's actually two words,
French characters are at the end of the sort.
Yeah.
Which is not an issue for English American people.
It's not a problem for the code, but I don't think there are any in the dictionary. I haven't seen any of them, at least. I don't know why.
But there seems to be here.
There is at least one there. Yeah. The E with the curly line above it.
There's this one here. For example, it's what is it in English? Circonflexe in French.
Is it conflex in French?
Circonflexe, yes.
Circumflex. Okay, yeah. Lost me there.
Yeah, but it's usual that these characters are interpreted with their ASCII code, so they are at the end.
Yeah, and I've even seen it actually do something with. We have 3 special characters in Danish as well, and at one point it actually didn't order them in alphabetical order, which was quite weird. So even though
strings as well, if you hit enter.
Excuse me?
If you you can write any thing and just hit enter, and it will add it to. But it doesn't really save it, so it's not that interesting. But
So if you wanted to append something to the dictionary, you could just press enter. Is that
Yes.
what you meant? Yeah.
Although it won't be saved.
Yeah, not yet, but yeah.
It's just put in the object to try.
Okay, for
Okay, so
example, if I
we'll
put
only
enter
be
here, it would add this to the text file?
No.
No?
just
To
to
the
the
object.
memory.
To
Yeah.
the object, okay, internal memory, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, good, nice too.
Yeah, sure. Are we about there, Joe, or?
Yeah, I mean, this is interesting. I'd love to talk
Yeah.
about it more, but I know it's late for you guys. It's been 2.5 hours, so.
I at least need to turn in soon. So.
Yeah.
Me too.
Well, thank you, everyone. This was
Thank you.
awesome stuff. And
Absolutely. It's pretty
see
great.
you next month, I guess, huh?
Yeah. See all of you next month. You have to be there. No, I can't say. But it would be
Okay.
great if you were.
Bye-bye, good evening
Thank you.
good night.
And thanks, Sean. Thank you for
Okay.
your help today. That was awesome.
Yeah, it was a pleasure, bye.
Have a good day. Bye.
Bye.